Hello everyone, we're very honoured to have you here as an audience to our presentation for our solution, which is the Plasticoin project.
The world's oceans are under threat from human activities that are harming and polluting our oceans. Climate change is the biggest threat to our oceans, as rising sea levels are destroying marine life and affecting many natural habitats. A large impact from climate change is caused by human activities, mainly greenhouse gases from transport and factories. Climate change also affects the natural acidity of the ocean, which alters natural habitats and marine life, which can cause large declines in populations. Pollution is another major factor in deteriorating our oceans, such as fertilizers and pesticides that are used in agriculture, which are dumped into the ocean. However, plastic pollution is the most common polluted material to our oceans, as majority of the single-use plastics that we use in our day-to-day life, such as plastic bottles, plastic bags, straws, and food packaging, ends up in our oceans, which can often affect marine life as they are often mistaken as food and are often consumed, which can be fatal. Overfishing is causing a large decline in marine wildlife populations, as species are beginning to go endangered as a result of overfishing our oceans. Overfishing is caused by fishing large amounts of seafood by large corporations for production. When large amounts of a particular seafood is pulled from its natural habitat, it doesn't allow the population to recover properly, which causes the population to decline and further affect the natural food chain. Our oceans are dying, and we are the problem, but we can also be the solution.
The 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals are an urgent call for action by all countries developed and developing. The SDG we will tackle is Life Below Water, which aims to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, ultimately reducing marine pollution and protecting and restoring ecosystems. Plasticoin also extends to poverty, zero hunger, and climate action sustainable development goals. One of the biggest impacts on the oceans is plastics. In 2019, the recycling rate of plastics across Australia was only around 11.5%. In 2018 to 2019, only 15% of plastics are estimated to be recycled or used for energy recovery. Only about 32% of this is recovered, and less than 5% is made of recycled plastics. Plastic consumption only remains on an upward trajectory. The WEF claims that global production is expected to double again by 2034 and almost quadruple by 2050. The full number of plastic bottles in the sea may never be known, but out of the 500 billion we're using a year, less than half of those were actually recycled, each taking up to 450 years to biodegrade. You can see the problem here. Plastic contributes to global warming by its resources in creation and production of methane in its degradation. From this graph, you can see the exponential average temperature increase every 20 years. Plastic is responsible for 3.8% of global greenhouse gas emissions. That may sound small, however, if it were a country, plastic would be the 5th highest emitter in the world. It may be easy to brush off plastic catastrophes when it doesn't affect you, however, microplastics are being ingested by marine wildlife. For those who eat seafood, you too are now ingesting these plastics.
To overcome the problem with marine life and ocean pollution, our solution is Plasticoin. What is Plasticoin? This is a digital token that can be used by the public as a measure of value, trust, to exchange with goods and services. We are looking forward to partner with several organizations to collaborate with us in this process, and these organizations will be accepting Plasticoin to provide their goods and services to the customers. The next question that a person might have is, how is this contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals, and how can we get the Plasticoin points? It's simple. We call this process return to earn. The digital currency, which we call Plasticoin, will be awarded to the public once they hand over the plastic waste to the drop-off locations or to the tellers. The value which will be added to the Plasticoin account will be determined according to the weight of the plastic which is handed over. In this way, Plasticoin will help us to reduce the number of plastic which end up in the ocean that causes marine pollution. The Plasticoin program is open to everyone in the public. However, we intend the program to be an aid for the poor as well, where they can participate in the program and earn some extra Plasticoin points that they can use to purchase essentials for their day-to-day life. To make sure this program runs smoothly and to safeguard our community, we have implemented certain policies, procedures, and security features. For an example, our tellers will be only accepting plastic, and anything else which is not plastic will be returned to the person using the scanning system which we have implemented in our collecting machines.
How this works, you ask? Plasticoin acts as the digital token and a reward system to help achieve the sustainable goal of plastic reduction. Our users who would contribute to the success of Plasticoin would start off with signing up with an account in our systems either through the teller machine or at one of our drop-off locations. Using their email and provided a secure password, the information will be sent out to our system for proper verification of this user. After successful verification, users are provided with a unique ID card which can be used to log in to the system. The ID would be registered under their account to secure privacy and data and can only be accessed through the user login details provided. Users who bring in their plastic waste such as plastic bottles, cups, etc. to our tellers or drop-off locations would sign in using their ID and password. Later, the system requires the user to input the plastic waste brought forth through a chute, which uses advanced scanning technology to identify the item. Based on the number of items put into these tellers, the system measures the value by the item itself and weight, converting plastic into valuable digital tokens which can be accumulated. The system's technology helps identify the items put into these tellers, therefore would help overcome the problem of people cheating the systems. These criteria are inclusive of limiting the daily waste a person can put into these systems, having rejection chutes to not accept items that aren't plastic or plastic items not suitable for recycling, such as having food items, liquids, or any other substances on the waste presented, as it would only make the recycling process harder. This method would encourage the habit of recycling clean plastics, making users aware of the process of recycling. The machines are programmed to organize the waste filled into categories of plastic, making it easier for the recycling process. These tellers are emptied by the local council during a period of days depending on the area for a new round of converting plastic into Plasticoin. How would I know how much Plasticoin I've gained? It's simple. For users who have access to a smartphone device, our app allows access to check your Plasticoin balance, your daily recycling limits, what locations, the closest tellers and drop-off locations, and much more. The tokens that are added into the user's account can be easily used to either purchase food items from our drop-off points or from partnering companies. Please mind that this is not a form of currency which can be used for purchase of other transactions apart from the food products shown in our catalogs. But that's not all. To help succeed with our goal to reduce plastic waste and encourage our supporters, Plasticoin works on a milestone reward system to help our acts to save our planet's ecosystem going forward for many years to come. This system would include rewards such as offering products to help with the work of plastic reduction for free, such as bags to encourage people to carry their waste with them to dispose it at a proper recycling bin, or even give access to events such as beach cleanups or city cleanups to further encourage our movement.
But a project is not without its limitations. For Plasticoin, we still need funding from organizations which may actually be contributing to the very problem we're trying to address, with large corporations that might be tied to different industries and sectors that could be contributing to plastic reduction that could end up in larger ocean areas or in waterways, such as Sprite. We may require funding from them, which may represent a bit of hypocrisy that could be a source of criticism from outside media organizations. Another criticism of our project is that it doesn't actually address rural areas and outer oceans. For example, the large swaths of trash that have accumulated in more difficult to reach areas of the ocean, such as the Great Garbage Patch off the coast of California, which is only growing greater by the day. Plasticoin also relies on crowdsourcing its funds in order to get the initial setup ongoing. It has to be proven as a concept before it can be applied broadly. The criticisms of the actual project itself, though, are not exactly few in number. For example, the initial sign up to the program, even at early stages, there is an implied expectation that the consumer base has access to phones. This kind of limitation will undoubtedly alienate some of the customer base that we are trying to cater to, which is namely a lot of the homeless population. The main barrier to success for Plasticoin is going to be funding. We need to provide funding for our salaried employees that are part of the organization, but we also need to provide funding for the later development stages of the organization itself. So, for example, when we try to go into the mid stages of the organization, where we've acquired some more funding, we've existed for longer, we need to provide funding for machine manufacturing, for the installation of those machines, and for the funding of card manufacturing. In the the later stages, we will require funding for even more salaried employees, as well as building costs, as we will require more centralized locations. In these centralized locations, we will need to also use a storage schema for our servers in order to store all of our data, and that may require additional spending in regards to storage, whether it's on-site or in the cloud.
In regards to future scalability, we can split the project into 3 stages. During our early stages, we can rely on a digital-only currency and a partner app alongside employees at manned collection points where they can manually verify the plastic traded in. As the project picks up and once we can take the cost of installation, maintenance and upkeep, we can start the development and manufacturing of physical collection machines. At this stage, we can also introduce physical cards similar to credit cards to make the solution more mainstream and accessible to those without phones or internet. And then at a late stage, we can build offices and create a larger support and outreach network, expanding into more rural locations and educating more people on both the dangers of cumulative plastic pollution and how they can benefit from our solution. A natural follow-up would be to tackle the retrieval of glass and aluminium as well, and would be more than feasible since both already have a strong recycling ecosystem behind them and are able to be recycled endlessly with no loss in quality. Further, this project primarily focuses within Victoria and our local coastal oceans. However, in the future, the system can be expanded interstate and overseas, with Victoria as a proof of concept. With the help of partner organisations and governments local to them, we can piggyback off of their recycling programs and immediately offer local goods to users. Ultimately, when fully expanded, the project can also be used to fund more direct methods of cleaning the ocean, such as collection programs, marine vessels, and cleaning equipment, allowing us to have a more immediate and tangible impact